All right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with another video.
Yeah, man, another mock draft coming at you guys. This time around, though, as you guys can tell by the title, we are doing a collaboration with SteelLogic, who is, of course, one of the members of the Steel City Disciples. Want to give a huge shout out to SteelLogic and the Steel City Disciples all together. As you guys know, it's a group of Steelers content creators such as us, the SteelTwins, SteelLogic, Steel Jedi, Steel Maiden, Steel Jackson, the Renegade 412, Brune Steel, Mac Main, Erica Steele, Lady Steele. There's just so many in the group, man. But you guys already know the group, so huge shout out to all of them, man. But this week, we're going to be doing a collaboration with SteelLogic. He sent us over a mock draft, so we're going to go over his mock draft after we go over our mock draft, and we're going to go over his thoughts and our thoughts on each of the mock drafts. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start with our mock draft, of course, with in the second round. The Pittsburgh Steelers select J.K. Dobbins, running back, Ohio State. Running back has been the position that the Steelers have looked at the most at the combine, which is very interesting because, we all know the current state at the running back position with James Conner and Benny Snell and Jalen Samuels and, the depth we got there.
Right.
James Conner coming into a contract year. We all know about his injuries. We stated this before. This is a do-or-die season for James Conner, but maybe the Steelers don't have too much faith in him, or maybe this is one of those insurance picks because of, his injuries, of course, and the depth we got solid depth, but we don't have a determined runner, at least not yet.
Right.
So going to get a guy like J.K. Dobbins, who could be the future at the running back position for the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, wouldn't start day one, which is great for him, but, we could have him split reps with Conner and Snell and Samuels and get a running back committee going, take some pressure off of Ben, and eventually he can build his way up and eventually be that starting running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And J.K. Dobbins is one of the guys we're incredibly high on in this entire draft class, especially in the second round. One of the guys that could definitely be there. And the reason why I say that is because I can see maybe one running back being taken in the first round. That's either Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift. Probably Swift. We were leaning towards either Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins, but after Taylor's combine and everything, there's no way he's lasting the 49. I would love it. I would take Jonathan Taylor over J.K. Dobbins just because he's faster and he's an absolute workhorse. Excuse me. But I just don't see him being there. So we go J.K. Dobbins here, man.
Right, but you can't go wrong with a guy like J.K. The guy's going to be a star. He's an absolute stud. The guy can run. The guy can catch. He's not bad at blocking whatsoever. You give this guy some development, he's going to be an absolute stud.
Which is crazy because, people look at J.K. Dobbins and are like, oh, immediately, he's a one-day starter, which he is. He has the tools to be a one-day starter. Yeah. But you bring him into our system behind Conner and Snell and Samuels initially, you have him develop, that's fucking scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely scary. So, and J.K. Dobbins is a workhorse himself. He just fits the mold of a Steelers running back, man, that hard-nosed rushing style right there, that physical rushing style, who has some speed to him, which is scary. He's a physical, tough, strong, durable runner, but has some great speed to him. So imagine that behind Ben and behind our offensive line and everything. So
yeah,
let us know what you guys think about that. Now in the third round, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Chase Claypool, wide receiver out of Notre Dame. This is an interesting selection because Chase Claypool is, of course, one of the big guys that was getting a lot of notoriety after the combine. He was getting a lot of notoriety coming into the combine because there were talks of him moving to tight end. I mean, the dude's 6'4". He's pretty much 240. He has the body and the build of a tight end, man.
Right.
But he's so great at playing wide receiver, too. And whether we want to put him at tight end or receiver, either way, he's a mismatch. And you bring in Chase Claypool, you put him behind Juju and Johnson and Washington and Deion Kane and guys like that, behind our system and the way we develop wide receivers, with Chase Claypool, who's, fast, he's a tall weapon, he's got great hands, and he loves to block. I think that's a beautiful sight to look at, man.
Absolutely.
Or a picture to think about,
And you got to think his size would be an absolute, it would be something that Ben would absolutely fall in love with.
Of course, because he's
kind of like how he fell in love with Martavis Bryant.
Of course.
Unfortunately, that didn't last long, but a guy like Chase Claypool, that could very well end up lasting the rest of Ben's career.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, if we want to move him to tight end, we can totally do that. Chase Claypool said he's open to moving to tight end, but we'd keep him here at wide receiver. and put him in the slot. He's a mismatch in the slot. If they do want to switch him to tight end, he is the perfect flex tight end, man. He's just an absolute mismatch, man. Play outside, inside. He's a mismatch because of his height and his contested catch ability and, his jump ball ability and his speed, man. Chase Claypool behind who we already have and how we develop receivers, I think he'd be a scary weapon, man.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah, could potentially be a great number 2, number 1, depending on what happens to Juju next year or Washington or whatever, man. So, yeah, man. Now in the fourth round, the first pick in the fourth round, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Josiah DeGuara, tight end out of Cincinnati. First things first, it was announced that the Steelers are expected to exercise Vince McDonald's 2020 option. Actually, hold on. I got a better one. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys already know our thoughts on Vince McDonald.
Right. I mean, we were all hoping, that we could possibly trade him or release him if we couldn't come to a trade to save some money. Obviously, that's not going to happen. If anything, restructure his contract.
Yes.
It's what you need to do.
Yes.
Because we need money to sign free agents or
even the draft class overall, the rookie class overall. So
exactly. But
he's going to be returning as the Steelers starting tight end in 2020, expectedly so.
But if you think about it, this could actually be a benefit because if you get a guy like Josiah DeGuara out of Cincinnati, the guy's obviously not going to be a day one starter, but the guy can develop under or behind Vance, and let's say Vance doesn't stay, which I don't think he will.
No, because he has 2 years in his contract. Now, unless the Steelers are keeping Vance for this season only to go draft a guy like Pat Fearmouth out of Penn State next year, that's completely fine by me.
Right.
He's the best tight end coming out of next year's draft class already.
Yeah.
And he's still got another college year to develop. But you also got to think, depending on how Mason continues to develop, you got to look at Steelers got to look at quarterback as well. So I don't know. And the tight end class this year is kind of underrated in terms of depth. So a guy like Josiah DeGuara, like you said, is a guy we can come in and develop behind Vance. And he was one of the, risers of the combine because he had a great combine, man. He looked good in the drills. He looked comfortable. He looked solid. He doesn't necessarily have the build of what a Steelers tight end or what a Steelers would want in a tight end, but he does have not only the great receiving ability and the seam stretching ability and some speed to him, he has run blocking ability. And the Steelers love those dual threat guys that can not only stretch the field, but help in the rushing game as well, and the passing game, of course, when it comes to blocking. So that's something DeGuara would bring to the offense. So that's a guy that we can draft in the fourth round, add depth at tight end, but eventually develop him to be that guy to take over Vance's spot.
Exactly. Now with our second fourth-round selection, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ben Bredeson, guard out of Michigan. Now, obviously, we say it in several other mock drafts, we need to get younger at the offensive line. We need to apply depth at the offensive line, and that's exactly what Ben Bredeson would apply at first. He would be nothing more than depth, but you give him time to develop, especially with how Foster – I don't know if Foster's going to stay or go. Quite frankly, if it was up to me, I'd let him go. But I think more than likely Steelers will keep him unless we have to get some extra money.
Oh, yeah, then they're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Right.
But I don't think – cutting Foster would necessarily be that tough of a decision because he's getting up there with age. His age is definitely showing.
Yeah.
He's a cap casualty. And we got guys that can come in and take over, his spot. A guy like Ben Bredeson, he probably wouldn't be a day one starter. Like you said, he'd just be young development, depth initially.
Like we said in previous mocks, you can switch like Feeler or if you've assigned Finney, put him at guard.
Right. Because he's capable of being a starting left guard, in my opinion.
Right.
Feeler can be moved to left guard. You have Chucks and Zach Banner have a position battle for right tackle, for the starting right tackle spot in training camp. So you got guys that can be switched around or can be assigned to fill in Foster's spot. Bredeson would just be a development to eventually take over that spot long term.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now with our sixth-round selection, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Benito Jones, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, man. This would pretty much be initially depth at defensive tackle because I think it's pretty much inevitable that we're going to lose Devon Hargrave due to free agency, and good for him. He's going to get the bag. He's going to get some opportunities. He's going to get more playing time with a better system.
Yeah.
So good for him, man. But, of course, that's going to be a big gapping hole in the defense, clearly. Now, we have guys, similar to offensive line, we have guys that can come in and initially, fill in for Hargrave, like guys like Tyson Alualu. We're still high on Isaiah Buggs from Alabama last year, so those are two guys that can come in. They did solid last year's backups. Those are two guys that can come in and continue to work and hopefully take or at least substitute for the defensive tackle. Benito Jones is a big sleeper this year. He's a guy that can, of course, be developed and maybe eventually take over that defensive tackle spot, maybe battle with Buggs in the coming years for a starting right tackle spot or a defensive tackle spot. So, yeah, it would be initially depth, but I wouldn't sleep on him to possibly take over that spot. We got guys that can come in now, but in a few years, maybe we get a position battle going with the two young guys in Jones and Buggs.
Exactly.
For D-tackle, man.
Now with our second-round selection, our last pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Evan Weaver, inside linebacker out of California.
Yeah, this is pretty much depth inside linebacker. Now, I personally think the Steelers are going to resign Tyler Matakevich just because he's a special teams demon. He has the most tackles of anybody when it comes to special teams tackles since he came into the league. So he's a special teams demon. He will probably get a good contract, or it should be a cheap contract, but he'll probably get a contract extension with the Steelers. But there's still the possibility that he won't. Evan Weaver will come in, take that Matakevich spot, be a special teams demon right there, take over his spot, apply depth inside linebacker. He would be a special teams depth guy. So pretty much. Now on the Steel Logic mock, man, this is very interesting. In the second round, he has the Steelers selecting Marlon Davidson, an interior defensive lineman out of Auburn. Pretty much defensive. He can play defensive end and defensive tackle. He'll probably be a defensive tackle at the next level. But he has us selecting a defensive tackle with the first pick, which I'm not completely opposed to if the right guy is there. Davidson is one of those guys that I wouldn't mind taking if he is still there, which is possible because, even Logic said in his explanation, which I'm going to read to you later, he was kind of overlooked by, the
Derek Brown.
Wasn't it Derek Brown or Derek Brooks?
Derek Brown.
Was it Derek Brown?
Yeah, Derek
I'm thinking of the Buccaneers linebacker, excuse me.
Derek
Brown from Auburn as well. He's probably going to be a first-round pick, no doubt. Marlon Davidson was the guy opposite of him. He obviously got some of his shine taken away from him, but Davidson's still not to be underestimated. Logic says Davidson has had a very productive college career next to a top 10 talent in Derek Brown. Auburn actually used Davidson as a DN because they run a 4-3, but for us, he would be a 3-tech defensive tackle to fill in the spot left by Hargrave. Losing Hargrave is going to be a tough one to swallow, and adding a guy like Davidson provides you with similar versatility. Yes, I know we have Buggs, but he was a 6th-round pick and is still developing. You're making a more significant investment taking a D-tackle early. Eventually, I think Buggs will take over Hayward's role once he retires, but he still has a lot left in the tank. That allows you to get Buggs ready while being an understudy. Very insightful analyst right there by Steel Logic, man.
Absolutely.
And I got to agree. We said that, Alu and Buggs can come in, but he does make sense. Taking Davidson would be a better investment because he's a much better talent. He's a more desired talent, I'd say, man.
Yeah, he'd be more prone and ready, when need be.
Right, and he would be a day one starter.
Right.
So he can come in and of course fill in that Hargrave role. So let's know what you guys think about that, man. I would not be opposed to taking D tackle with our first pick in the second round as long as the right guy's there. Davidson is definitely one of those guys, man.
Oh yeah.
Now in the third round, Steel Logic has the Steelers selecting Donovan Peoples-Jones, wide receiver out of Michigan. So we go wide receiver, so he goes wide receiver here. Peoples-Jones is another one of those sleepers, man. There's a lot of sleepers when it comes to wide receivers this year, man. And Peoples-Jones is definitely up there. I feel like he was kind of lacked, or his production and his potential was lacked due to the quarterback play in Michigan.
Right.
But even so, man, he still showed a lot of potential. He is a tall threat, of course. He can be a red zone threat. He's got some speed to him. His yak yardage is impressive. He can be the depth guy, similar to what we do with Chase Claypool. He would sit behind Juju and Johnson and Washington and Kane and guys like that, and then eventually be developed and still be a nice, solid depth piece. Maybe work special teams initially and then work his way up. So I like the pick, man.
Absolutely.
We get wide receiver depth, and it's a guy we can develop, man.
Oh yeah.
And he goes same thing with fourth round. And with the first fourth-round pick he has is Darrington Evans, running back out of App State. He has running back depth here. And I like Darrington Evans because He reminds me more of like a Ronald Jones-esque guy. Maybe in some ways he kind of reminds me of Tariq Cohen as well, only taller, of course.
Right.
He's got great speed, and he's got a rushing style that would complement Connor and Snell's rushing style greatly.
Tremendously.
Yeah, because of that, he has that speed factor, but he's...
Yeah, and going back to that speed, that's one thing that the offense doesn't really have a lot in that speed, especially at the running back position.
Right, and the great thing for him to get his feet wet, he can work special teams because he has the ability to be a return specialist there as well. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, he can work as a receiver. Versatile running back. He has receiving ability, too. So
yeah,
he's a guy that would complement Connor and Snell's rushing style very well and would pretty much add a little bit of speed and significance to special teams and, of course, the offense overall. So
yeah,
I like the pick, man. And in the fourth round, his second fourth-round pick, he finally goes tight end with Harrison Bryant out of FAU, which is Florida Atlantic, of course. I like Harrison Bryant a lot. I think he's one of the big guys that, could definitely... Or I could see the Steelers definitely taking because he has the tools and the measurables and the physique and the build of a Steelers tight end,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to height and build and, like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like Josiah DeGuara, he's also a guy that's being slept on a lot.
Absolutely.
The guy's got a lot of talent, good speed, good blocking ability, great hands.
And he won the John Mackey Award, so that goes to show you how much potential he has.
Exactly.
And similar to what we do with Joshua DeGuara, or Josiah DeGuara, excuse me, Harrison Bryant would come in, be depth, but then eventually be built to be that guy to take over the tight end starting position. So, and in the sixth round, he has the Steelers taking Darryl Williams, interior offensive lineman out of Mississippi State. He goes interior offensive line here. He goes offensive line depth. Of course, it's something we got to address. We're getting older in offensive line. We got to get younger. Darryl Williams is one of those guys that would apply youth and versatility, and eventually, hopefully, maybe be built up to take over maybe Foster's spot as well. So similar to what we would have with Ben Bredeson. So
yeah, exactly.
And then the seventh round, he went with the same pick we had in the seventh round. Evan Weaver, inside linebacker out of California. So similar explanation. He'd take over Tyler Matakavich's spot, or basically just pretty much apply depth at interior.
Yeah.
Or damn it, why am I saying interior? Inside linebacker.
Right.
Excuse me.
Gets younger at the position and the defense as well.
Absolutely. And he even has undrafted free agents, which is interesting, man, because he has the Steelers picking up Kalike. Is that how you pronounce his name? Kalike Hudson, safety out of Michigan. The good thing about Hudson is that not only can he play safety, he can play inside linebacker, he can play outside linebacker, so he can be one of those dime backers. He's a little short in size, similar to Devin Bush, and he's from Michigan, so we can pair him back up with Devin Bush. He's a guy we can develop to potentially take over Mark Barron's spot, whether we keep him or not. He's a guy we can develop to be that dime linebacker because he has the coverage ability, he has the speed, he has the strength, and with some extra development, he could be a solid dime backer right there.
Exactly.
Tanner Moose, linebacker out of Clemson, is another undrafted free agent he has us taken. Kendall Vilder, cornerback out of Georgia Southern. Joe Gazzino, edge out of Northwestern. And finally, Michael Turk, punter out of Arizona State. Turk is, of course, the punter that stole the show in the combine with the fast 40 and an impressive 25 reps in the bench press. So,
right.
Hey, any way to get Barry out of here is completely fine with me. So
seriously, I'd take him.
Absolutely. So that is Still Logic mock, man. So quick recap of his mock: Marlon Davidson in the second round. In the third round, Donovan Peoples-Jones. With the fourth round, he has Darrington Evans and Harrison Bryant, which I think are two great offensive depth selections right there. That can be
sleeper selections.
Absolutely, that can be built up, man. Sixth round, Darryl Williams. In the seventh round, Evan Weaver, man. So let us know you guys' thoughts about our mock, and especially Steel Logic mocks down in the comments below, man. I highly recommend you guys subscribe to Steel Logic. He's going to be doing more mock drafts leading up to the NFL draft, of course. He's one of the more draft gurus of the Steel City Disciples. So if you're not subbed to him, you're missing out completely, man. Go sub to Steel Logic. I'll put the link to his channel in the description box as well as pinned at the top of the comment section. And don't forget, the Heath Miller jersey giveaway that we mentioned in our previous mock is still up for grabs, man. I'll put the link to that in the description below. The specific link that you have to go to, you're gonna actually have to. I'll put the link to the Steel Yingers post that we have on the Steel Yingers website, steelyingers.com, and you have to click the link at the bottom of that. You can read all the rules and everything, and then click the link at the bottom. The reason why I'm not putting the link to the actual thing in the bottom is because YouTube considers it spam. and I have no idea why. Let's see if we have a proper sound effect. Oh, yeah.
You are so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube's a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah, they think that the Heath Miller jersey giveaway link is spam, yet we provide evidence that the damn jersey is in the fucking video. But yeah, we're spam. We're fucking spam, but I guess so. And of course, more mock draft news, man. Not only can you guys expect weekly mocks on this channel, tomorrow on the SteelTwins channel, which I'll put a link to it down in the description, and as well as been in the comment section, we will be doing a live stream tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on the SteelTwins channel, where we'll be doing live mock drafts. We'll probably do 1 or 2, 3 mocks maybe. We'll be doing live mock drafts with you guys in the chat. You guys can suggest who we can select and who we should take or what position we should take. So go ahead and come and chat with us on the SteelTwins YouTube channel, man, during the live stream tomorrow, again at noon Eastern Standard Time. Come and chat, man. Hope to see you guys there. Anyway, guys, let us know you guys mocks about your mocks if you guys have any mocks. But let us know you guys' opinions about our mocks and especially SteelLogic's mocks. Again, huge shout out to SteelLogic. It was great doing a collab with him. You guys can expect a collab on his channel as well of another mock draft we have. So I would suggest you go sub to his channel if you have not yet. And again, he's going to be having more mock drafts leading up to the NFL draft. So definitely sub to him, man. But see you guys next one, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Peace!